Hey everybody, welcome back to Taco's Virtual Mode, here for this Talk About It Friday. I hope you're having a great start to your Friday, and I hope that today's questions can help bring you some more joy on this day. So without further ado, let's get into it. Here we go! Alright friends, you know what's up. It is time to start with the starter. Today's starter question is, if you could master one skill, what would it be? I have an answer for this question, my friends. I definitely have something that I really wanted to master at some point in my life, and I still kind of desire to do this as well. But back in the day, back when I was living with my parents, I got a keyboard, and I went really hard at trying to learn some basics on the piano. Now, I wasn't looking into how to read music. It was more along the lines of studying some YouTube videos and watching which keys to press down. I learned a few chords, but it wasn't really too complicated. And at one point, I could definitely do a few songs very confidently. It was one of those things where, you know, you go to some places or you go to someone's house or you see someone play the piano. It's like, whoa, they're really cool to be able to do that. I wanted to be able to do some of the things on the piano. So I put together a few songs. I could play just a few songs. And then I kind of just didn't do it anymore. I don't know. Times got busy and I really wished that I was able to stick with it. Instead, I guess I kind of went to camp and I learned how to play the guitar, and now I'm kind of basic knowledge in that. But I wish I could go back and learn how to play some of the basics on the piano and eventually become a master, because if you know the piano and you can play piano well, props to you, because that is a tough instrument and a lot of work and a lot of time. So great job if you know how to play the piano, but that is the skill that I wish I could master. So that is our starter for today. Now friends, we are going to move on to the comical questions. The first comical question is kind of more along the lines of how last week when we were trying to figure out how the brain named itself, it's more of an abstract question. And the question is, how many dogs do you think are on the earth? So think about it in this way.
How many dogs do you know?
Likely you know many dogs. Your family might have multiple dogs. Your family members might have multiple dogs. And think about all your friends have dogs.
I came from a family that never had dogs.
We always had a cat. And I've talked about my cat Camo on this before.
But I know so many people with dogs.
Now multiply that by however many people in this world, and the number of dogs is
Gotta be in the millions of hundreds of millions of dogs. Like,
holy moly. Have you ever really sat down to think about how most people that you know likely have a pet, and that those people, and it's just
exponentially big. So
there's a lot of barks out there, and a lot of people who are wishing to have back rubs, and so it's also important then to remember to take care of your dogs, because there's lots of dogs out there. I guess this comical question kind of turns into more of like, let's love on our four-legged friends more than we ever have before, because there are so many out there and it's important to take care of them.
But holy moly, there's gotta be millions of dogs in this world.
Okay, so our second comical question is something that is funny, I guess you could say. I have a funny story for it. And the second question is, what is your biggest cooking fail? Now, premise, before we get into what my biggest cooking fail is, I want you to understand some circumstances. This cooking fail happened shortly after I was living on my own. It was in my very young stage of cooking. I didn't really know a whole lot. And please, as we practice in a previous midweek devotion,
do not judge me for what you're about to hear.
So friends, my biggest cooking fail,
and yes, it is a very big fail,
was the one time I tried to combine fettuccine alfredo with leftover bratwurst. Okay, so I know what you're thinking.
What the heck are you doing putting bratwurst in Alfredo in? Like,
where was the coming out of that like going into? Anyway, so here's kind of where my thought process started. You know, brats can sometimes be classified as Italian sausages. You know, Italian sausages and brats are kind of like the same thing. You know, like they're packaged, you know. Anyway, so my thought process was like a brat is an Italian sausage, and fettuccine alfredo might be good as an Italian dish, you know, Italian, maybe the two will go together. Sometimes you put meat in your fettuccine alfredo.
Now I know most of the times that is chicken.
But I was going to give it a try. I had leftover bread, I didn't have any bun, I didn't know what I was going to do with it, and I had fettuccine alfredo cravings. So I was like,
let's put them together.
Well, my friends,
It certainly did not turn out.
now I did start to eat it, but by the middle of it, I kind of got to that point where you're like,
Man, this is just a really bad mistake.
so by the middle of it, I had stopped and I realized that I had made such a big mistake. Now please, if you ever think about putting a brat in fettuccine alfredo, do not do it. I've already tried it and it is not good. You're just going to waste your time. So move along and learn from my cooking fail. And those are our comical questions today, talking about dogs and then really weird food combinations that you should never try. So friends, to round out today, we are going to have one final question where we are going to dig a little deeper. All right, friends, we have this question for our digging a little deeper, and it's really not more of a deep question, but it kind of revolves around the deepness of the times that we are in. The question is, tell me about something that has recently made you laugh. So yes, laughing on the surface is not very deep, but as you guys know, so much is going on in our world that is preventing us from living life as we usually have, where, laughter can come a lot easier. There are many people still struggling in this world, and I think it's important to note that we are still very much in the middle of a pandemic, and we cannot give up all the work that we have done to keep what we are doing and driving forward to a time where we can finally be normal again. But through all of this stress and through everything going on in our lives, we really don't have all that much time to be happy and to be full of laughter. A lot of times it becomes more stressful. So in a sense, thinking about when you last laughed or when you had a good laugh can be a deep thought and can be something that brings up good vibes for you to have for the rest of the week. So for me, I actually just recently had a really good laugh. And my laugh came over a FaceTime session with my brother. We were joking around and having a good time. And, where you're with someone who you're comfortable with and you get to be with again, it's just fun to release some of that energy. And we ended up having a good laughing, crying session, good old laughter. And it's something that I miss having with people in person. See, this was over a FaceTime, and I couldn't do it in person. But I want to encourage you to still reach out to those people that you have that make you feel really good and that can give you some of that energy to work through any of these stressors that you have in your life, because it is very important to be happy and it is very important to have a good laugh. So I want you to think about that last time that you laughed and how you can recreate more of that energy in life where it is so stressful at sometimes and where we don't know how we're going to necessarily move forward, but know that even though we have to hunker down, there can still be laughter in our lives. So that's kind of where I wanted to wrap up this week on a happy, light note, to just kind of take down what we've had, where some of us likely had a very challenging week. And it's important to remember those times where we can feel good and feel happy and release some energy. And this is a safe space to do it. I know this is a space where it's just you and I talking like this, and this is kind of what we have to deal with right now, but always know that I am here free for a conversation if you need it, and we can definitely set up ways to communicate. And you know what? The future is looking brighter. We are going on a path where we can eventually be together one day, whether it be at different capacities or whatever, but I promise you, friends, that is in the future. It is something I'm thinking about, and I know it's something you're thinking about. We just have to get through this together and figure out a way to eventually get back to where we can be back in that normal sense of the tacos program. So that is how I want to leave you today. I hope you enjoyed talking about how many dogs there are out there. Try not to have any cooking fails. And you know what? Laugh a little today. It's a Friday. I hope you enjoy your Friday, and I hope you enjoy your weekend. Have fun this weekend. Enjoy watching the Super Bowl if that's something that you want to do. And we will see you on Monday when we are back at it to motivate you for the start of another great week. Thank you all for tuning in today. Thank you for coming and sitting down and talking with me yet again here on our Tacos virtual mode platform. Until Monday, see you later, everybody.